Bobby, click go live.
No, we're live.
Yeah,
What
it's definitely live, Jameson.
Yeah, no, Jameson is definitely
It's
live.
not live on mine. Now it's live. God
Oh my God.
Legitimately,
Hello, and
my StreamYard didn't even show it.
Yeah, no, anyways, hello and welcome back to the Schooner Pod. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we've got Jameson Maxwell and Ty Lee. And boys, just like the start of this podcast, it wasn't pretty, but the Sooners got the job done 17-13 over the LSU Tigers to finish the regular season 10-2. 10-2, a mark that I think all of us probably thought was a bit unfathomable at the start of this season. But sure enough, the Oklahoma Sooners look to be college football playoff bound. Truly unreal, unbelievable season. And but that game, yeah. I mean, Jameson, on a scale of 1 to 10, how panicked were you in that fourth quarter?
I think I got to the point where I was just frustrated and saying, you know what? I'm not panicking. If we lose this, we don't deserve it. And I was just kind of depressed, to tell you the truth. I think that was more of an adequate measurement of what I was feeling in that game.
I think that's fair. It was more just sad that we had gone. It was like, oh, we were really going to go all this way and not pull it off. But
but at the same time, that's what we've been doing all year. Especially for the past 4 weeks, we've been doing the same thing. Not like anything that we saw in this game was any different than what we've been doing all throughout November.
For the past 4 weeks through November, we've been doing it against ranked opponents. We've been doing it at Bryant-Denny and things like that. We've been doing it against other playoff teams. So it's.
And I mean, I was just sitting up there with Darielle, my wife, and we were just like, just like, look, we just need something to happen. We just need something to happen. A little bit of Sooner magic, a little bit of, just something to happen. And the Satania bomb, man, that was something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you could call it Sooner magic. It kind of is, but also just LSU completely forgetting to cover the best player on our offense. But wow,
which is a fairly low bar, to be fair. But give Satania his flowers for sure.
Yeah, I think that I've been saying this for the past maybe 3 or 4 weeks, that the margin of victory for a Sooners win with our defense is so wide. It is so wide. You can play like crap. You can throw 3 interceptions and then they can return them into the red zone and all of this stuff can happen. But it just takes 1 or 2 big plays in the game and then it's done. And that's what happened in this game. All it took was we had to wait a long time for it, but all it took was an Isaiah Satania big play.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the recipe this team has to win games is getting a scrap, getting a dogfight, just get a couple explosives, and I hope that's enough to do it. I don't know if that's a very reliable thing, but it's just kind of how it has to go now.
It's been reliable so far. I mean, and I do have to say, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first game this season that we have lost the turnover margin, but we've still won the game.
No.
Actually,
we were pissed.
I forgot how bad we are with turnovers.
Yeah, we're the bottom of the country at the beginning of the season. So I can't tell you the games, but I can pretty confident there are games that even
in recent times.
Did we turn the ball over in Temple? Did we win that game?
We did. Mateer threw an interception. We didn't. Yeah. We lost the turnover battle there. We lost the turnover battle against Illinois State. Really,
everyone. Bad stat.
It's okay.
Bad stat. I forgot.
Well, with how many turnovers they've been getting recently, I think it's understandable to be like, oh yeah,
of recent times.
Yeah, recent times. Yeah. Yes, this is the first time in a while where. This is the first time in a while where it was this lopsided, and OU was able to find out a way to win.
Mm-hmm. And they were bad turnovers that put LSU into really good situations.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Credit to OU's defense for the most part at limiting the issues there. Obviously the Peyton Bowen interception with that, red zone, near pick 6 that Mateer threw at the start. And yeah, I mean, I think obviously it wasn't perfect by any means, but the defense finds a way at, really mitigating those mistakes, really trying to paper over them, cover them up. And they did enough to get it done, without a doubt.
Yeah. To put the defense in perspective, I feel like the margin of victory is really skewing people's perceptions. But I understand LSU has been not great this year. Holding a team to less than 200 yards and 13 points, any Power 4 team in November, is an awesome defensive performance. I don't care who you are, I don't care who you're playing. If you're playing a Power 4 team in November, less than 200 yards total offense and 13 points is unbelievably solid, especially when 10 of those points are off of egregious turnovers. It's another absolutely stellar defensive performance. And it's frankly, in college football nowadays, you should not be losing games if you're holding people to under 20 points. And it's, we'll get into it more, but it's a little wild that we're having to worry about losing a game when we're holding someone to less than 200 yards and 13 points. But it was unbelievable defensive performance. Like I was telling you guys in the group text during the game, I feel like the defense is so fun to watch now that maybe we're just making the offense terrible on purpose because we know that the defense is the more entertaining product. So whatever we can do to get our defense back out on the field, because that's what the people want to see. So maybe this is some sort of private equity play to push the content that gets the clicks.
I will say about the defense, you will give them their flowers for 13 points in this game. And you'll say oh yeah, the turnovers, but just throw away field position, throw away the points, and just look at the way this defensive team played. Unbelievable game. Peyton Bowen's interception in the red zone, a hell of a play. Extremely high IQ. We've been saying it for a long time. Peyton Bowen has such a high IQ, and he's been putting himself in positions to do that. And it seems like it just would always just be just a hair too far of an overread, or he would drop the ball. And now it's just he's continuing to show out, and he's really coming into his form of one of the better safeties in the country. It's everything right now with his defense is clicking, and I don't really see a weakness right now. Almost every single team in college football has weaknesses. This defense itself, I can't name it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to name one. The cornerbacks have been incredible. Guillory was awesome in this game. Like you said, Bowen has become an absolute superstar. The amount of game-changing plays he's made in November, these definitive, just shut it down type of moments, obviously had that great pass breakup against Alabama to end that game. Had a just brilliant move to end the LSU game as well. Obviously the interception that we talked about, but he has just become unbelievably good. And he's a guy who I don't want to say was entering this season, we're he was, a disappointment or a bust by any means, but he was a guy where we're I don't think we've seen the best out of him yet. And I think we're really, really seeing that 5-star promise that we got, when OU was able to flip him from Oregon in that very eventful signing day. But he's taken his stock, everything with him to an entirely different level.
Yeah, this defense, I feel like you guys have said, it's hard to find a weak point. There's obviously someone's always going to have some sort of wild, freak of nature, especially as we get into the playoff discussion. Potentially, we're not going to jinx anything. Right? There's always that random 6'9" receiver that you can just toss the ball up and play NBA rebound, or there's always that just insane running back potentially that you can face. Maybe not this year, but in general. But yeah, this defense, I feel like when I watch it, if I didn't know OU football, you could turn on any random clip, any game of the season, and you could give 20 people 20 different OU game, just short clips to watch. And not 20, that doesn't work for this analogy. You could give 11 people 11 different clips of the OU defense to watch, and every one of them would walk away saying that a different player was the star player on this defense. The depth of that defense is full of stars, full of guys that are going to be playing on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays. The NFL's taken over all the days. Thanksgiving.
I was about to say, are they transferring over to the MAC? What is your Tuesday?
Yeah, no, the NFL, not Tuesdays, Thursdays. Sorry, one of those T days. They're all the same to me. Not to be a dayist, but all the T days are the same to me. But yeah, it's just insane the depth of this defense, where there are guys across the board in every position that are stepping up and making big, game-changing plays. It is just so entertaining to watch. Like, if you're a coach for like high school and middle school kids, like, you got to be showing them this Oklahoma Sooners defense. Like, that's what you're trying to build. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah, and I think like this defense could continue to get better into the postseason. I think a big player that we always said was one of the unspoken top players on this team was Jaden Jackson. And his snap counts have been extremely minimal ever since he got hurt a couple of weeks ago. Like, he once again only played 18 snaps this game. Maybe give him a couple more weeks and we can get him back to where he is. And putting in the interior, there's certain positions out on the field where it's like you have really damn good players and you can kind of reach a cap of how good you can be with them. There is no cap to how good the defensive line can be. Like, if you add more talent to the interior and the outside of your defensive line, it could really put you to new heights. And I think that hopefully these next couple of weeks can really help Jaden Jackson get healthy.
Well, and you want to talk about adding some talent. If you can get R. Mason Thomas back, for that first
and I didn't
game,
even bring that up, which is ridiculous at this point.
Yeah. Just casually bring back the best player on your team on just a dominant defensive unit. Like, yeah, that'd be pretty damn nice. Yeah. Which is just incredible. And at that point, it will have been about a month and a half, a little bit more than a half.
Yeah, and these quad strains suck, so I mean, it takes a little bit. So I would hope that he's back then, because obviously he was, there's been conversations of like trying to get him on the field the past week or so, but not coming to fruition. But those quad strains really do suck, especially for a power edge rusher.
Haven't needed him, so there's maybe in retrospect playing the conservative game was the right decision.
It is, but at the same time, man, the way that Taylor Wine is developed on the other side, it just would be ridiculous.
Special teams monster too.
Mm-hmm. And I just love that. And you just love guys. Like, I keep talking about high IQ, and it's like, once again, Taylor Wine continues just making high IQ plays, continues to make the right plays, and there are some players out there that are extremely athletically talented. Taylor Wine is also that, because he can freaking standing jump over an offensive lineman and block a field goal. But, there's always a little bit of variation if maybe they lean more towards their athleticism rather than their IQ. IQ always wins. And that's why every single game Taylor Wine is looking really good, because he goes out there and he makes the right play every single time.
Yeah, without a doubt. Wine has been incredible. I feel like every time you enter a season, you have a guy who is like kind of the hyped camp guy, and, sometimes they just never show up. Elijah Thomas, please, can we get some snaps out of you? That'd be great. That's not really on him. That's on the staff. But Taylor Wine has absolutely hit those expectations and greatly exceeded them. He's been unreal. And, when you look at this team and you look at this defense, the depth stands out. And the youth stands out to me. You really look at it, like, this team's going to be damn good next year. It's already pretty damn good this year, but defensively, that unit's just going to get even better. And you're looking at it, and outside of R. Mason Thomas, who's great, Robert Spears Jennings, also a really good player. You look at it, and you see a lot of faces who are probably coming back next year, and another year better and another year tighter, and you have to be very excited about that. But
defensively,
defensively.
I think the key to this team being better next year is one face not coming back, but it's not for the defensive discussion. So,
oh Lord, yeah, we're
well. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about them right now.
Well, let's see. Do we want to do a game ball for the defense though?
We haven't done
a game
all
ball
day,
in a hot
man.
minute. Yeah.
Paid mode.
Well, I'm sorry, I forgot. Maybe we have. I haven't been on the last 2 pods. I just realized. So maybe we have been doing game balls.
No, we haven't really. I did miss giving a game ball to my guy Delarin Turner,
yeah.
who was at the
Yep.
game a couple weeks ago, and
Was he
deserved
really?
a game ball. He inspired everybody. But Cody Ford at the game for this one, so
I'm sure there were a lot of guys at the game, not just those two.
well, the people that they showed, like, oh, it's Cody Ford, he's back.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan, the kicker. Tim Duncan, the kicker.
Oklahoma Sooners kicker. I think I would have heard about that if he was at the game.
Yeah, Cade Horton. Shout out to Cade Horton. He was there. But anyways, let's talk about the offense. Let's talk about it. Not a great showing by any means. You had the 2 explosives. You put up a ton of yards, but you had 3 completely just costly turnovers. All 3 interceptions from Mateer. 1, batted pass, ball goes up in the air, anything can happen, that sort of thing. Really tough. And then just 2 really just not good.
Dude's got to look off these freaking D-backs, man. I don't know what it is. I think I don't want to know if it's called this way, but if they're putting it out there saying, hey, Mateer, you get it to this guy on this play, that would make more sense. My guess is that's just this guy does not know how to read a defense, and he just sticks on somebody and doesn't look to the other way.
Wait,
yes,
sorry. I'm sorry that I don't know this. Did you go to the game, Jameson?
Yeah.
Okay. On the TV broadcast, none of the interception plays, but if you did not watch the TV broadcast, it's maybe worth going back and watching just our offensive plays. Arbuckle cooked up a heck of a game. In absolute, there were 2 different drops where there's nobody. It looks like
Giovanni Gibson drop was just piss poor, man.
There were 2 different plays where, if we could have just gotten the ball within 5 yards of a completely uncovered dude, that's 14 points right there. It was not trying to do an agenda thing, just, people that watch the game on TV because they highlighted those plays, went back and showed the replays from the down the field angle so you could see where the defense was lined up. And Arbuckle was cooking up a heck of a scheme. So it's, I don't know. I don't want to. I've been critical of Arbuckle in the past, but I just wanted to point that out for the podcast's sake. It's definitely worth going back and rewatching. Anyone that's curious about this offensive performance, the scheme was there. I mean, you see it with the Burks explosive play. That was a beautiful scheme. They saw something there across the middle where we can make this short pass and we talk about it all the time, using the talent that you have offensively. That was legitimate. Okay, I see this dude has the offensive mind. He saw, okay, we're not making these longer passes. Let's try to reel it in. What can I do to create an explosive play that's a 5-yard pass? And that was beautiful. Same with the Satania. Obviously they saw something that we could do schematically that would maybe lead to him being uncovered. But yeah, Arbuckle had a heck of a game. So when we're looking at the offensive game, the scheme was there for sure.
And I think it echoes a lot of things that a lot of people have been saying, that the guys are open. I think Arbuckle's scheme isn't nearly as much as John Mateer's inability to really run it effectively at the SEC level, which is frustrating. Obviously you expect them to have that cohesion, having worked together at Washington State. But the point that people are making, Suitor Cowboys in the chat, for example, is dead on, that he's just not processing the game all the way right. He's not able to really, run that RPO the way, that is needed. And I think, to me, it's something that's going to have to, you're going to have to look at that in the off season, work through it and get better. But it's just not, I don't think it's clearly not gotten better week to week. I mean, maybe to some degree slightly, but it's just not great. It is not nearly where it needs to be to operate at a really good level.
Yeah.
And, I think overall, receiver wise, you clearly just don't have the horses outside of Satania. Burks on occasion, I guess, but not really. This was his first touchdown since Michigan. But
was it really?
Yeah, that was Burks' first touchdown since the Michigan game, which is saying something. So you have Satania, like your offensive play is hope to get Satania on that crossing route and get him, off to the races.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's a very good scheme.
Cowboys makes a good point too. I was not aware of that, of LSU leading the SEC in interceptions coming into the game. I think important caveat to apply to this LSU team is, yes, they've stumbled. Yes, they're without their head coach they started the season with, but it's LSU. Like there's absolute dogs across that roster. I understand there's a lot of guys stepping in and out, but you have to give them their flowers too. And I'm not trying to make an excuse, but like LSU is never not going to have dogs on that roster. So you gotta keep that in mind.
Blake Baker's a good coordinator. Like he's going to get retained by, Lane Kiffin. And if he doesn't, apparently he might actually have a shot at, a head coaching spot somewhere in the American. So we'll see. But Baker's
Maybe
a damn
Penn
good
State.
coach.
Penn State still ain't got nobody.
Who was it? I saw it might have been some Twitter BS. That Penn State was looking at Josh Heupel.
No, well, yeah, I've got a buddy. I've got a buddy named Garrett who's looking at Dua Lipa. So
fair enough.
Did a Tennessee fan post that on Saturday, Bobby?
Yeah. But yeah, Jameson, what are your thoughts on Mateer and everything?
Yeah, I think all of that's right. I will say that I think this has come down to a confidence thing, completely processing confidence. I think he has that ability to go out there and do that. But I think that his ramp up with this season of one, he's going to have a huge, burden of trying to learn how to read defenses against SEC talent and speed. And he did not get any of kind of the luxury of working up to that because he broke his hand. And now he's worrying about the beginning of the season when he's learning how to throw against an SEC defense. Could I make that throw? Is my thumb strong enough to spin it to get into that tight window, especially with all the RPO plays that we have? Could he actually make the throws that he wanted to? So now it's at the point where it's like he should be good. And it makes me wonder that kind of progression from the early part of the season is really hit his confidence down a lot, to the point where he's like, this is his baseline for this season. And maybe it is a situation where if he does just kind of wipe the slate clean in the offseason after all of this, have this under his belt of like an experience factor, then maybe he could do it just fine next season and improve.
Yeah.
It's an argument, Ty, and I understand the haters. I understand the haters. I will say this, and I was real tired of it. At the game, I was so damn tired of all the put in Hawkins. I said, you put in Hawkins, the grass ain't always greener, and you're losing this game no matter what. Mateer's going to look bad, but he's going to have a couple plays, and he's going to win us games because he had. And I guarantee you, if we would have played Hawkins in this, he would have thrown Satania like 20 yards ahead of his route on that open play.
Yeah, but 20 yards ahead of the dude, there's not an LSU defender. Like the third interception was nothing to do with the thumb. That guy was never.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the thumb. I'm saying the thumb created like a disadvantage in his ability to make throws that he wanted to, and now he doesn't have the confidence, and he's completely shot everything that he has intangibly on the football field.
Interception against Temple that's my argument to that. Interception against Temple. The thumb is definitely like, look, I was all in on Mateer early season, right? I think we've now seen that he has the heart of a dude that you want leading your team, but he's the only reason that LSU was in this game. And we could have run a trick play and had any one of the backs or any one of the receivers throw the passes that resulted in the touchdowns. So it's like, I don't know. Sam Levitt's in the portal. I know Ben Arbuckle is a big listener of the pod, as are millions of people. Sam Levitt's in the portal. The donors, you need to hear this. With 6 figures, I think. I don't even think we need to go into 7. I think 6 figures so you can get an OU a national championship next year if you just pair anyone with this OU defense. But yeah, I don't.
I hear
there's no
you
way. There's
on
no way
it,
to.
Ty.
There's no way to know. There's no way to know definitively. I just want to put that out there. It's like because to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? First interception, like we talked about, tipped. There's nothing you can do about that. That's maybe you throw it better, it doesn't get tipped, whatever.
It was a bad throw, even if it wasn't going to get tipped.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of bad luck. It's intercepted, right? There was 2 that probably should have been intercepted, and the LSU dudes weren't heads up. But the third interception was just egregious.
Yeah, they were all bad. And we've been saying it for the past couple of weeks now. Honestly, maybe longer than that. Is John Mateer has this uncanny ability to throw to defenders and them not catch it. And that just wasn't the case versus LSU. Whenever you have one of the better defensive backs in the country.
Like, oh no.
And then they've done this. They've done this already to DJ Lagway in that Florida game. Like you talk about how they led the SEC in interceptions. Well, DJ Lagway did this exact same thing to them and threw 5 interceptions instead of 3. And still, Florida had a weird chance that they could have won that game.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those things. I can understand people wanting to start the slate clean. I like for next year. I don't know if I agree. I think the cohesion. Well, like just give them another
continuity is so important. We cannot underestimate continuity in today's college football.
Yeah, continuity, and this has been a situation that has had no continuity at all. I mean, Arbuckle is what the 4th OC in 3 years, when counting Joe John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you need to give it some time. I totally understand the frustration. He's not there. He isn't there yet. But that doesn't mean that you can't give him another offseason. These things.
He's a redshirt junior.
Yeah, first time in the SEC. It's a leap up.
Okay, yes, but determining if someone has if someone has a red, like he can't tell the difference between a red and a white jersey, like that's. Come on.
Like, I think we just need to give him some slack here and let him have an off season, keep continuity, and I'm just fine with him. If you wanted to go make a big splash, Ty, I completely understand it. Right now, I just think that I think that what Bobby said is continuity is a big deal, and we've had so much overturn. And how about we just keep things the same and focus on our strengths of a defense? And then if we don't have to keep on replacing a quarterback every single year over and over, that is not a good recipe for success.
All I'm saying is
a different play caller, a different quarterback, a different offense every single year, because just people aren't going to master it that quickly.
5 years ago, we had a guy who has now unilaterally carried UVA into the playoff discussion and potentially a ACC.
Oh, bro, no, we're not. Don't even talk to me about the ACC.
Chandler Morris, come on.
Chandler Morris would have had more than a 4-point delta on LSU. That's all I'm saying.
No.
I'm going to just completely shut that off. I'm not even going to discuss it, Bobby. But I wanted to give a shout out to my girl, Jamie, in the chat. We talked after the game. She's a loyal listener. I promised her I'd give her a shout out on the pod. She's listening right now. So thanks for listening again, Jamie.
All right. Yep. Appreciate it, Jamie. And glad that Jameson was able to calm you down about Mateer.
Yeah. What in the world? Aren't you supposed to do no harm? You have harmed the listeners irreparably.
I also, while with non-maleficence, I also do beneficence. Oh my God. I can't even talk, and I'm on a podcast. I'm just so dead right now. Just let me die right now.
Yeah, no, you've been traveling back. You're like all day. It sounds like you've been going through, Thanksgiving travel hell back to the DC area. So
let's kind of come back to the offense though, because I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, look at the yardage. Look, 300 plus passing yards from John Mateer and all of this stuff. I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Well, you just did.
Okay, because it's a pod. I'm not going to talk about it further. How about that? Just because I just don't think it's significant. I think a lot of it was just empty yardage. And so I think that's just box score watching, from my opinion.
Well, about a third of it was on 2 plays, 2 explosives. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where that's why yardage doesn't totally matter. And, you have to score to actually convert on that, which is the total in like the whole Alabama situation when OU went in, beat them in Bryant-Denny, and they're like, well, Alabama didn't really actually lose that, like really lose, because look at all the yards, look at all the stats. It doesn't matter if you're not able to score. So that's the case here. It's not worth parading the point, the yards, all that. To some degree, you feel good that there were points to feel good about, but the turnovers, all of that, kind of sullied a lot of that. So with this, you just kind of take the 17 points and, if OU eliminated, even like half of those turnovers, yeah, I think that the offensive output looks a lot different. But I don't know. I don't think it's something to crow about too much.
I do have to say, shout out to Jameson. We had almost 100 yards receiving from our beloved Sooners tight ends, if you include Bauer Sharp's 17 yards, which was a key first down, I might add. That was a devastating.
I wanted Bauer Sharp to throw a ball.
I was expecting it. Did
y'all
know he played quarterback in high school? No one's ever mentioned that Bauer Sharp played quarterback in high school. I just found that out today.
We did not see a jet sweep or a throw from Bauer Sharp in this game, which I think is just malpractice at this point for the LSU offense.
He was the recipient of a double pass, but yeah.
There is one topic I do want to talk about, and I promised myself I wouldn't, but it's just too funny. I cackled when I saw number 0 go into the game. I legitimately think that might be the biggest reason I lost my voice Saturday night. I was yelling a lot, but the cackling that ensued after Jaden Ott goes into the game is ridiculous.
Well,
I can't believe
what happened.
This team is going to watch his stupid little video that he posted about all of his like favorite brands and whatever beforehand, and they let him go out again.
Well, Jameson, you know what happened immediately when he came into the game is Deion Burke's touchdown. So that's the Jaden Ott effect for you right there.
Yeah, where's his box score plus minus?
The Jaden Ott effect is like, I don't know, one of the most genius cons in the history of sports, because he looked at this team and said, oh my goodness, there's a much bigger fraud in John Mateer, and I'm going to commit egregious fraud, and then everyone's going to forget about me because Mateer will have ripped them off even worse. It's genius. He's like the lobsters on the Titanic.
I will say that let's do another positive thing to kind of bolster up John Mateer. This run game ain't it right now either. We need time off so bad.
Speaking of, where's the FBI?
Well, the whole reason why like Ott was in the game is because Blaylock's clearly hurt. Xavier Robinson's clearly hurt
again. Yeah.
Yeah, like that room has been walking wounded. Javonte Barnes is clearly transferring, by all accounts. And
I was promised Taylor Tatum.
Yeah, we were promised a healthy Taylor Tatum, and he didn't show up. He was in the post game Whataburger win cam though, so that's good for him.
Was he or was that AI? No, I need definitive proof that some of these guys are still alive, because I think there's, I don't know.
I honestly think that a wellness check into Taylor Tatum would be a good idea.
Yeah, I saw him. He was there. He looked really happy.
But I want to see wellness. I need to hear his voice like Jaden Ott did. I need a Taylor Tatum video.
I need him in like the Blade Runner. They sit him down at Blade Runner and they determine if they're a real human or not. Because I don't know. I think DeMarco Murray could be embezzling funds by like selling organs of these guys or something. I don't know if these guys are still around.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is he a good recruiter? Who is he recruited?
He's a good.
The most ridiculous thing.
No, he is a good recruiter, but
a bunch of dudes who are putting up 200 yards on the season.
That's the problem. Is he's a good recruiter, but he's a horror. He's not a good developer.
He's just recruiting the wrong dudes. He's a good recruiter. He's just recruiting the wrong dudes.
Like it's like 5-star Taylor Tatum, and then nothing happens.
You get
a great portal edition and Jaden Ott. Nothing happens. I'm not trying to blame DeMarco Murray for Jaden Ott. Like, I don't know. No, we don't know what's going on in the room. We don't have intel.
And
We're just some
just to
dudes.
clarify, we're not. That was a joke. We don't think that DeMarco Murray is harvesting organs of these guys. Just to clarify.
Thanks for clarifying. No, we need to evaluate the offensive. And that's, I will say, that is one thing that absolutely needs to happen. I think Venables has to look at the offensive staff and rehauling that. I know we're 10-2. I know OU's 10-2. I know it's going to be hard conversations, and you're going to have to let go probably. Well, the whole staff's basically ex-OU grads. You're going to have to let go of some fan favorites to some degree of legacy guys, but the offense needs more work, and I think that staff has to be part of it. I think more NIL has to be a part of it, used in the right ways, not just all giving it to Jaden Knott for some reason.
Yeah, I get the move of going after Jaden Knott. It was, I think, in theory, it should have worked out. The intangibles, the want to, the work ethic weren't there. So, I mean, I get it. And it's like, I don't know how this happens, but whenever you're kind of, he was essentially poached. Like, it was a quick behind the scenes in the portal commit to Oklahoma. How much you can actually sit down and do like a full job interview with this guy. Ask him some behavioral interview questions, kind of see, what is his work ethic. Talk to the, like what sources from Cal are going to tell you, oh yeah, this guy's a great practice guy. You're not going to find that out. Right. So that's kind of just like, sometimes you get something that you thought was really damn good, and then you realize it wasn't as good as you thought it was.
Yeah, I think on the ought discussion as well, it ought to be mentioned that the quarterback that he had at his Cal time is currently the presumptive Heisman winner as well. So that definitely factors into what people are scheming against that offense. But I don't know. It's not a bad get. There's no way that you can look. Yes, hindsight is 2020, but he was a highly sought after transfer. Whatever it is,
a great move.
We don't know. Anything can happen with a guy. He could absolutely pop off and be tremendous in the NFL if he ends up going.
No,
you never know.
No,
you never.
I feel like I
guarantee you he's not going.
I feel like I kind of know. Let that work out and go fly in the NFL.
There have been plenty of people with terrible attitudes that get carried in the NFL.
You would think that like a guy like Zach Evans, remember 5-star, went TCU, bebopped all over the place. You thought that he would have been the perfect guy.
Evans, Mike Evans drops 5 passes every Sunday and is still the star.
He's like out for the season. He hasn't played in like a couple weeks.
Yeah, and that's why Tampa Bay is building something special, because they don't have him anchoring them down.
All right, getting myself back, getting all of us back to this game. I think that this offense has been at its best whenever the run game has been the biggest strength. When we saw that was a possibility with Xavier Robinson, and that guy was not our first or second or probably third, option at the beginning of the season that we thought that could do that for us. And so give him props there. But ever since that knee sprain, they putting on that knee brace, he's just not quick in between the tackles, and good on them for just pulling him and just saying, screw it, we're not going to play this anymore and do these 1 to 2 yard in between the tackle, low, ceiling kind of plays. And I think that if it truly is just a lower grade knee sprain, that he should be good and should be 100% healthy in 3 weeks.
Yeah, which would be obviously massive for sure. And, hopefully Blaylock can get back out there. And, obviously, something interesting too. And, Oklahoma Breakdown kind of broke, kind of brought this up. The postseason games don't count against you for redshirting. So maybe Javonte Barnes shows up out of nowhere suddenly. Maybe you get a little bit more Taylor Tatum, Yeah,
I think Javonte Barnes, he's such a good guy. He knows he wants to go and transfer. I don't think he would have any problem doing it, Bobby. It's the question of, does this team, and Venables as the leader, going to play a guy that has already pretty much said he's done?
Yeah.
In the year of our Lord 2025, you kind of have to do whatever you can to try to figure out ways to win. And that's just kind of the reality of
it. And another thing with that, is his agent just going to say no? Javante might want to. His agent might say no. He's going to
yeah.
say like, what's the positive in this? I'd say you need to reform your stock right now. And if you have a good playoff run, you have a great opportunity too. You can make a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I think you would put. I think he needs more tape than it's worth taking that risk. Because if you're hurt at that point, like obviously it sucks, but you don't lose that eligibility being hurt. You can still find a way to preserve that year, figure something out, and then rehab through a comeback another year. Because they just hand out years like candy bars. So
I think an important real quick to touch on the backs too. When we talk about them, Xavier Robinson has legitimately 20 pounds on the next heaviest guy. He has 40 pounds difference between him and Blaylock. Like Blaylock is right at 200 and Xavier Robinson is a 240. Like the weight, especially when you need a guy who can run through the tackles, who can maybe account for a line that doesn't necessarily do the best job run blocking, can generate those yards after contact and can generate that, even just that fall forward. Like if they generate, if you're going to be playing SEC defenses that are going to hit your guy at the 0 to 1 yard line, as long as he can fall forward, that's a 3 to 4 yard play. And that is so big on first down. And like 40 pounds is a significant weight.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that caters to our strength.
Yeah. And we need that. We need more weight. Like the next biggest guy, again, roster weights, it fluctuates heavily, but like Sawchuck is almost 50 pounds lighter than Xavier Robinson. Like it is.
Gabe's a little guy.
Yeah.
Well, in Robinson,
different type of back.
Yeah, Robinson's tall for a back, but it's like, the one that we need, like if we're talking about, what does this OU team need for being competitive in the playoff or being competitive for next year? Like if things don't change on the offense, you need a back who can at least truck over some people if he's going to get hit right at the line.
And it could be X really as a upperclassman and what he's shown this year. I think right now, Ty, I agree with you. I think having with an offensive line that has gotten better, but still has some room to improve. A running back that can fall forward for a 3-yard gain is extremely needed. But the problem is right now he's only falling forward one yard with the way his health is right now.
Yeah.
And so if we can get him back to what he was, especially and also in the Ole Miss game, he looked amazing. Like that guy almost won us the game.
Yeah. No, it has that zip. He absolutely is just an incredible back. He just needs to get healthy and stay healthy. In 3 weeks, you might be able to do that. But
I would figure as much. I don't know what Breakdown said about the offensive line and what Gabe said about the offensive line, but I wanted to make a point that one of my buddies, Evan, was talking about during the game, with obviously Michael being out and you moving Wee-Woo over to center. I think we had a lot of false starts and put us behind the sticks. And I think that he had a good observation. He saw in a couple of them that it might just be that Wee-Woo might be just snapping the ball like a half second late and was causing like tight ends and wide receivers to jump just a hair early, where that could also be a big thing that could change here for us because the center is like one of the most important positions on the football field on offense other than the quarterback. So yeah. I think that's like, we're not going to talk about that as much, but I think that's not understated of how big of a deal that Michael injury was.
Yeah. And I don't want to talk too much about Breakdown. Just listen to Breakdown because it was really good. Gabe did say that he was really impressed with Wee-Woo. He said he probably was the best center on the team, despite the fact this was his first ever start at center. He had never played center in his entire career, from what I understand. So,
yeah, I mean, good on him. But at the same time, it's absolutely terrifying that if he went down, what's going to happen? We're playing Gunnar Allen or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it's a scary prospect. And, hopefully Michael, everything works out with him. He gets back to feeling well. It's apparently, you hear reports sounded not good.
OU center, Jaron Kanik.
Oh God, he can do everything.
What's the reports, Bobby? Help me out here because I haven't seen it.
It's some medical stuff that I don't know. I don't want to publicly.
No, you're
talk
not going to
about
get
stuff.
Bobby to violate him.
Yeah.
on
I don't even know. I don't even. Yeah, I'm not. All I know is I heard it was a situation. That's it. So just keeping
Well, I
it
need
nice
to
and
figure
vague.
this out. I knew that he was in the hospital, but I mean, if he just had an infection, it should just be fine. Yeah, okay, I'm digging right now. Is he in the hospital with an infection?
Yeah.
I mean, the worst of the worst with any kind of an infection with this is you remember whenever Austin Stogner had legitimately pyomyositis, where it was like a bacterial infection of his muscle.
Yeah.
I thought
After he got
didn't he have
strep.
like, yeah, he had like an
Hmm.
infection in his quad because of strep or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that is exceptionally rare. I doubt
Yeah.
that's the case. But I don't know if Bobby knows more, and we'll just talk after the pod. But if it's just the words of a scary infection, I mean, that should still be fine. That shouldn't be like some kind of season-ending injury.
No,
but I don't know.
it's not that. It's not that.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm assuming a lot
No.
here. Like,
Did he-
All I was
try-
saying was he was out with the infection, but he should be fine.
Did
You
he
know?
try
'cause,
the
like, he could've been
sushi bar
septic.
Did he try the sushi bar at the Kate Center?
I did walk around and try to find Kate yesterday. And
They tore down part of it. Much of
it's
it.
yeah, and it's so sad because I just wanted to find it and think about the hash brown scramblers.
Oh, the best.
The garbage breakfast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. Okay. Anything else we want to say on this game?
No, it's just survive and advance. And I think that we'd be remiss not to just kind of postulate about CFP now.
We have
Because that's what everyone wants to talk about. And that's what makes this fun.
That's what what we were gonna bring up, Ty.
I have one quick thing to say on this pod. Sam Levitt NIL target is like 1.1 mil. That's all it takes to get OU a national championship.
I don't believe in on threes freaking NIL evaluations.
No, that was Google AI.
Oh, yeah, even worse. Even
it's
worse.
Maybe pulling
Okay. No,
whatever it takes, dude. 5 mil. I'd give Sam Levitt 5 mil. I've seen him play. I've seen him go eye to eye. I've seen him go eye to eye with Josh Hoover, who should have won the Heisman this year.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Let's talk about the college football playoff.
We're talking to you, Harold Ham. Bring out the Bucks.
I thought he was an OSU. No, he's an OU guy. I can't remember.
None of the really big OU people, or none of the really big Oklahoma people are OU, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, they're just anyways. Yeah, so playoff. Let's talk a little bit about it. Not a lot of craziness happened ahead of OU here. So I think we were kind of hoping for something, maybe something with Oregon or, maybe something with Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. You really only got A&M falling. That doesn't do a ton for you. But to me, it looks like OU, if Alabama doesn't win the SEC, is going to host a playoff game. I feel relatively comfortable with that. I don't know if y'all share my same level of comfort with that. Jameson?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of media right now trying to put Oklahoma down in the dirt, which is kind of a shame. And honestly, I don't want to listen to it, but at the same time, how much do we think that the committee are these mega ball knowers that are just going to dismiss a lot of these media folk that are going to go out and try to push a narrative that Oklahoma's eye test doesn't look as good, and then they actually do put Notre Dame up, despite them just trouncing on horrible teams. Like, I think to put in the words of Ty, I think Jay Knott could throw for 200 yards for Syracuse's defense.
I never said that, but whatever John Mateer could throw against Syracuse's defense, Jay Knott could throw 2 times. So,
yeah,
you take the dude who kicks the Pat McAfee game day kick, and he would throw 2x what Mateer throws.
I think to me, the biggest thing about this is Notre Dame hasn't played enough quality teams to catch up to OU, even though the eye test does look good. The resume just has to stand, ahead of Notre Dame. It absolutely is way better than their collection of cupcakes and all that. I understand they have 2 really, really good losses. OU also has 2 really good losses. And in addition to those 2 losses, they have a bunch of really good wins. All Notre Dame has is USC at home. So to me, I feel like
I
Notre
mean, they're
Dame.
going to give them the Pittsburgh game, but that shouldn't be used whenever Pittsburgh legitimately wasn't trying.
No. And as we saw with Pitt Miami, not great. Pitt's not good. I just don't see a world where Notre Dame jumps. Obviously, they don't have a game this week.
I see a world, Bobby. It's not the world I think it's going to happen, but I see it, and it scares me.
Okay, well, here's a couple things that you guys have to consider, and I'm the admitted sort of ball not knower on this podcast, but as I just pull up last week's CFP rankings, one team in front of us has already lost. One team in front of us has to lose because both Ohio State and Indy are in front of us. Both are making the playoff, just to be clear. Ole Miss, I think by the standard that the CFP is set with, if you look at Florida State last year and everything else, will be docked for losing Lane Kiffin, and who knows what else is going to happen.
But
with
how
that Ole Miss
far?
roster.
I don't.
Yes,
think
but how far? But
I don't even think they could.
They're only one in front of us right now. They're
Yeah,
only
exactly.
One in front
So
of us right
they can't. They're not going to go behind us, Ty, because they have the head-to-head. So they're not going to move.
Yeah, well, you would think that, but
If it was like
the commissioner of the CFP has come out and said earlier this year that he cannot compare Notre Dame and Miami, in spite of the fact that they have a literal head-to-head game where they played each other. So, like, again, the CFP is sort of ball not knowers, and they live in extreme recency bias. Like, I think, I could see Ole Miss getting sort of shafted. Ohio State, Indiana, right? Neither of them are going to fall to our level. They're 1-2 right now. A&M probably not going to fall to our level too, but like two of the teams, at least three of the teams for sure in front of us have giant negatives. And, does this pan out for us or does it not? I think Bama wins that SEC championship. And Georgia's in front of us. Bama is behind us, but we have the head-to-head to Bama. So there's so many what ifs in this. Like I don't know.
1 through 7.
Alabama would absolutely jump OU if they won the SEC championship.
Yeah, but does Georgia stay in front of us then? That's the thing. And do you want to put Bama at 8 or 9 in front of OU? Do you just disrespect the head-to-head in Alabama's house? Like that's the thing. Because if you're going to put Bama in front of OU because the SEC championship, I understand that. But if you're doing that, then you're ignoring the head-to-head between OU and Bama, at which time you have to reasonably ignore the head-to-head between Ole Miss and OU because Ole Miss is not the same Ole Miss team. So, I don't see how we don't have at least one team that's in front of us drop behind us.
I feel like the annoying thing with Alabama, jumping because they're the SEC championship or champion is
potentially
they get into the SEC title because only one SEC loss to Oklahoma, and all they would essentially be doing is just beating a team they've already beaten. Which, with all due respect to Georgia, significantly better team. They've gotten better throughout the season, but at the end of the day, SEC championships don't matter nearly what they used to. It's these teams don't have as many games against each other. You have these weird gaps where you don't have a lot of cross-referencing. Ole Miss not making the SEC title with one loss is wild. Same with Texas A&M. They just don't play. These top teams just don't play each other enough because of how big these conferences are, and it leads to some really weird stuff. Pitt in the ACC championship at 7-5 for God's sake. Duke. Sorry, not Duke. Jeez, I was thinking of another disappointing blue team.
That's exactly
Duke,
the point.
Thank you.
God. The fact that it's a 7-5 team is all you had to say.
Yeah, but I do say with it is I think there's the argument for Alabama jumping Oklahoma is the SEC championship game is another opportunity for them to lose, and if they win it, they should be rewarded for it. That should be that you can't give them a negative output if they go out and they play really well and they look good. Because then they had one more opportunity to show if they're really good or they're not as good as people think they are. So you got to reward them for that.
Yeah, I understand it, and I think they will be rewarded for it. But also at the same time, if they lose, they're not going to get punished. I don't think they're falling out of the playoff if they play in the SEC title.
I think, yeah, I think that, and I'm not saying this as an OU homer, I'm saying this from the angle that the CFP are extreme ball not knowers, as we've seen, and they react extremely to things. I think Ole Miss will make the playoff, absolutely. But I think that you guys are severely underestimating how Ole Miss is going to be kneecapped by the CFP because of the Lane Kiffin stuff.
If OU wasn't there, I would agree with you that they'd get kneecapped. If like it was
Dude,
like Oregon,
I think
I
legit think Ole Miss is. I think Ole Miss is locked at 12 right now.
No, dude, that is such a bad take.
That's
Dude,
not even.
no.
That doesn't even make
That's
sense
not-
with the playoff.
no,
Do you think
because
they're gonna fall behind James Madison and UNT?
Okay, I forgot about that.
No, they are not.
Forgot about
falling.
UVA.
I'm
forgot
just
about
going to
UVA.
put my foot down, and I'm not going to. That is just such a bad take.
No,
They're not going to change that much just because they're coach.
No. Like I could see a world like again, I could see him shifting them if there were teams with like-minded resumes without head-to-head. That just doesn't exist. They are already kind of at the back of the line with one-loss teams, and I think they're just going to stay there. I think OU's capped at 8. I think that's totally fine.
Okay, what happens if BYU and Alabama win their conference championships? Where does Ole Miss land in that? Because I think A&M and Georgia are making Tech and Georgia are making the playoff no matter what.
So yeah, let's talk about the no matter whats. Let's talk about the no matter whats here overall.
Big
Ohio
Ten.
State and Indiana are both in.
Yep.
Georgia is in.
Mm-hmm.
I think
A&M's
Oregon's in. What's that?
A&M.
Yeah, A&M is absolutely in. Ole Miss is absolutely in. I think Oklahoma also should be absolutely in.
I think there is a 95% chance they're in.
Do you really think they get bumped out?
I'm telling you, I just don't want to close that. I think that they're very, 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 very likely to be in.
Okay, but that's fundamentally that's
if
fundamentally
BYU wins and
argument.
Texas Tech looks good, and then Alabama wins.
That's
a 2-loss Texas Tech is out.
Yeah. So let me just say that I'm kind of.
I agree. I'm just scared.
Jameson's talking point is fundamentally the same one I'm making for why Ole Miss can be handicapped. The CFP can do whatever it pleases, and it is plausible that Ole Miss just doesn't have an advocate in the room, and they get not left out, but severely, like when we're talking about can OU land a home playoff game, anything can happen. That's my point. I don't think Ole Miss is gonna they shouldn't be, but it could happen. And the precedent is there with the way that they treated Florida State in the past.
I think the portal arguably matters more. If that team has a mass portaling, then I could actually kind of see it.
Yeah.
I know that sounds insane, but if it's everyone's gone, but I don't think that'll happen. It sounds like they're rallying around.
They've got time at the portal in the offseason. They don't need to hit it now.
Yeah, they're going to make a run. I think they're going to try to rally behind Golding and try to make it. So I don't think that'll happen. And that's why I don't think Ole Miss is going to take a big dip. Again, if there were more like-minded, similar resumes, then they would absolutely take that. I just don't see it.
I see what you're trying to push here, Ty. I just don't think it's even possible.
It's absolutely possible. They've done way more.
It's not that you are not leaving out a one-loss SEC team.
No,
it's legitimately it's punishing every single one of those players and all the other coaching staff at Ole Miss just because of one guy's.
Time out. You guys are thinking.
You can't do that.
No. Wait, have you guys been thinking I've been saying that Ole Miss is going to get left out? I'm saying Ole Miss is going to could potentially have a lower seed in the playoff than OU. That's all I've been saying.
I don't think there's any way, shape, or form that's possible.
Dude,
we have more losses and we lost to them directly. There's no way. There's just no way you can justify that.
One apart currently, and they just lost their head coach, and we don't know what the portal's going to do. I think it is fairly reasonable to say that there is a world where OU is at least one higher in the playoff seed than Ole Miss.
I just feel like there is a clear cliff between OU at 10-2 and all the 11-1 teams. I see that as a defining line.
Yeah, but
and
again,
OU's just
not
moving
all
up
of
from
those
that.
teams
They
are
just
going to be
aren't.
11
It's just
and
not a
1.
reality.
Those
It's not a
teams are
reality.
not going to be 11-1 when the committee chooses who.
Ole
goes
Miss
to the
is.
playoff. Yes, Ole
Because
Miss
they're not
is.
playing.
Yes, without their coach. And again, that's all I was saying. Every hypothetical I presented said that Ole Miss was going to make the playoff.
And I think you could argue that a 11-2 Georgia is ahead of them still. I think that would be that would be fair. But I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah,
let's
play the scenario though. So Alabama beats Georgia. We're bumping down to most likely scenario would be we'd be at 9.
Yes.
And then we play Ole Miss at 8. Would that be the most likelihood scenario? You think there?
It depends on. I think it depends on how much they ding A&M for losing to Texas. Is the biggest thing.
Do you think that they would fall below Ole Miss? I don't think they will.
The AP put them there. I know the AP and the and CFP do not agree.
Texas A&M has a really
100%.
damn good win versus Notre Dame.
No, I would have A&M ahead of Ole Miss, especially given the conversations we were just having with Ty. I think that's one of the reasons why they're going to be where they are. So I think to me that's I think it would be Ole Miss. A road playoff game in Oxford if Alabama wins the SEC, and you don't have chaos like or Texas Tech losing, stuff like that. Yeah.
Would you rather play Ole Miss with all of the chaos that they have right now on the road or play a Notre Dame team at home? Not what you want to do because you want to go to a home playoff game, but for a better chance to win. Who do you think we have a better chance versus either of those? Because I hear an argument for both of them.
I think there is an argument for both. Vaught Hemingway in Oxford is not exactly the craziest environment in the world. I think they'll be fired up for this game for sure, home playoff game. And, you just got left at the altar by Lane Kiffin, but it's Pete Golding, So I feel like that's a winnable spot. You've played the team already, and it's hard to beat the same team twice. And Oklahoma's been clearly comfortable on the road. They're undefeated on the road. So I think there is a very, very good argument for that. I think Oklahoma, I like OU's odds against a Notre Dame potentially. I know that's probably an unpopular take, but I just feel like what they can do against their offense, I think they can really slow them down. It's the Notre Dame defense that gives me a lot of pause. And if we're just talking about those teams head to head, I think you'd rather play Ole Miss again, just because of the familiarity, running it back, that sort of thing. I think I trend towards Oxford just in terms of like winnability, but both would be very, very tough situations.
I'd rather play Notre Dame. I'd rather play Notre Dame. Bobby says, right, Notre Dame's defense gives him pause. A John Mateer-led OU offense is scoring 0 points in the playoff. So defense, to me, we take that, we throw it off the table. Does not matter because we could play the worst or the best defense. We're scoring 0.
How about you have a serious talking point, please?
No, but like serious, like it does give, right? There's absolute merit to playing Ole Miss, right? I agree with everything Bobby said about Ole Miss, right? Lost the head coach, who knows what, playing him again, you can run back all the old tape, all the lessons learned. We have every advantage there. And I agree, Oxford, I don't think is as tough of a place to have to go into and play, especially when we get late in the season, when the weather is going to be a little bit warmer on average, who knows when the game is played, in Oxford versus in Norman, right? And that makes things a little bit easier. Going up to Indiana to play Notre Dame is going to be harder just by nature of it being cold and it being a bigger stadium and everything.
The OU Notre Dame in Norman is
okay. So it would be in Norman.
This specific conversation is OU Notre Dame.
The most likely scenarios is Notre Dame coming to Norman.
Again, I still like having to go to Oxford, but against Notre Dame, right? Again, and I'll make a joke, right? We would score more than 0 points on offense, but if Notre Dame's best thing, and I haven't watched Notre Dame really this year, but if their best thing is their defense, to me,
it's not.
I'm relying on turnovers and defensive points and defensive stuff to win this game for OU. And I feel like that's not a crazy take.
This Notre Dame defense isn't the best thing in the world. Like, I don't know where this is coming from.
It doesn't matter.
I talked to a Notre Dame fan who specifically said that this defense just pisses them off.
I wasn't trying to say that
it doesn't matter.
I wasn't trying to say that there's some I wasn't trying to say there's some shutdown defense. I'm saying like I could see them giving OU some problems.
I
mean,
technically,
it doesn't matter with this OU offense. Like
but that's the thing,
when
Ty.
We get into the playoff.
The playoff doesn't magically make things hard.
No, but
OU has just gone through a stretch
where
OU has just gone through a stretch where they've played at Tennessee, at Alabama, and then played a really damn good Missouri team at home. All bits aside,
yes. Tennessee is nowhere near the playoff.
Please let me finish my talk. And then an LSU team that is filled with 5 stars that underachieved, was mad as hell trying to finish it out, and the offense still did just enough to win. They're not going to light the world on fire, but just because there is a CFP logo on the field now doesn't all of a sudden make things harder than what they've just been through. What they've been through in November has shown that they can compete at the highest level. It's not going to be pretty, but they can find a way to win in any environment against any team.
No, but in this specific conversation, we're talking about a hypothetical against a very, very solid team, right? Tennessee, nowhere near the playoff. Bama, absolutely in. Missouri, nowhere near. Like, we have already got embarrassed by this Ole Miss team. Different team, I understand. But it's
wasn't embarrassed, though.
I think
it came down to the fourth quarter.
You can't give me the argument. You can't give me the argument, this OU offense has done enough to win the games, when 50% of the games that we're talking about currently are games that we have already played and lost because we couldn't score points.
Dude, I'm going to stop you. That Ole Miss loss was not like our offense did what they needed to comparative to all the other games. The defense got torched on a rainy day, got 300 passing yards on them, and Trinidad Chambliss just cooked them. So that was a well-rounded loss. That team was just better all around than us that day.
Yeah, it's an 11-1
complete
team.
Ball not nowhere. Takes
it's not. You can't because you cannot tell me that the OU offense can do it
just doesn't fit your bit. This just doesn't fit your bit.
It's not a bit at all. It's not a bit at all to say the OU offense can do enough to beat Ole Miss when we have played them already this season at home in Norman, and we couldn't do it, and we only scored 26 points. And I'm pretty sure not all of those
is great for this team.
Were those all offensive points? Yes, it is great for that team, which is exactly my point. The offense is not going to get it done to win games.
26 points is pretty damn good in competitive football around the country, in my opinion.
No, it's not.
Especially whenever you have one of the best
in 2025 in college football, it is not. Every single team in the playoff, I guarantee, is averaging more than 26 points per game.
Okay, so averaging 26 points a game in a ranked matchup.
But that's what I'm saying. The fact that
against an 11-1 team, an 11-1 team that their only loss was a tight, nail-biting road game against Georgia. So it's not like, I don't understand why you're treating Ole Miss like they're the little sisters of the poor here. That's a damn good team.
I'm not at all. You guys are saying that the OU offense is good enough to beat Ole Miss in a hypothetical. That's cool. Why can I point to a game this season where it wasn't?
Well, I mean, it was, I think, partially.
That's all I'm saying. Is like if Notre Dame is a dangerous team. But it's like I look at Ole Miss. I know for sure that we can lose to that team because I can point to a real world example where we did at home. So I would rather, because again, I agree with everything you said about Ole Miss. I want to crack at Notre Dame. I do. I think that if we're talking about a team that is built around the defense, where we need turnovers, we need defensive points potentially, and we need some Sooner magic to win, I'd rather take Notre Dame at home. If we're going to win either one, for me, Notre Dame at home means more.
I mean, if we're talking about that, like in terms of thematics and, what would mean more, I agree. Notre Dame at home, the history behind that would be amazing.
I'm not saying, and again, we could win either game. And like I said, I think Ole Miss, if you blind taste test it, is the more winnable game for sure in the playoff, if you factor in everything that's happened. I just think it's absurd to say that the OU offense has what it takes to beat Ole Miss. We know for a fact that they didn't at least one Saturday this year.
So, like, I mean, no, like, not by itself. The OU offense has no ability to win a shootout against anybody. That's obviously clearly the case across the board. We know that. That is defined. The defense will have to step up. And what in its worst defensive performance was Ole Miss. So, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, the offense isn't going to carry the team. It won't. Obviously, we know that. But it's going to do enough to get OU across the finish line at times if the defense plays well. And that's my thing to me is it doesn't. I don't know.
Well, it's all hypotheticals. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Thomas does make it. Thomas does make a good point. A good point in the comments is Pete Golding is just Alex Grinch in one of those hats that's like a visor, but then it has fake hair on the top. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm not too afraid of. I don't know. I think either would be a really interesting matchup. And then one thing we need to talk about too that would be interesting is if you're in the 8-9, you win that and you're going to the Rose Bowl against Ohio State, which be something else. But this defense can put you in a position to beat anyone.
Could be Indiana.
We've seen that. Indiana would be. I mean, that'd be interesting. All right. Well, I don't know. I feel like we've kind of handled this whole conversation. Jameson, any final thoughts on this?
No. We'll talk about this later whenever we have it.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll be back on Tuesday to make our picks on the weekend spread for conference championship week and talk about, the college football playoff rankings. We'll have a little bit more clarity after that. So until then, for me, Jameson, and Ty, this has been the Schooner Pod. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, everyone. Boomer Sooner.